guys, we are out on the range with my friend Paul from BCM. Paul, thank you, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, you're thanking me now. I'm here to give you a heart attack.
Yeah, I think you might. I've been having a heart attack for 9,200 rounds so far.
So, guys, what I've been doing is a 5-year test of this rifle, which is a direct gas impingement BCM recce rifle. This is just a basic fighting rifle, but the whole point of our test was to prove to people that the DI system, which I call an internal piston, we'll talk about that a little bit, but it's a DI rifle, and I wanted to prove to people that say, oh, this thing, poops where it eats, and all the comments that you get, but this is America's longest serving infantry rifle.
Yes. Yes.
In this configuration, basic configuration.
Yep.
And so there is nothing wrong with the DI system, and I would argue it is probably one of the best operating systems out there, and that's what leads us to this test. I am demonstrating to the world that this rifle has gone 9,200 rounds without a single malfunction of either the ammunition or, more importantly, the rifle. Look, he's cringing, folks. But I do also want to say, this thing has 5 years of rain, snow, heat, cold, and just 5 years of carbon setting and solidifying, just getting rock solid in this gun. So if it does choke, I wouldn't be surprised if we get 1 or 2 malfunctions. It has had no maintenance done to it in 10,000 rounds.
Yeah,
none.
This is a fantastic test because I would have never been able to answer a question like this, and I wouldn't have it would have went this long without lube, because one of the things you always do, the cleaning of the weapon system is a little oversold, especially in the military. You stay busy, idle hands, all that.
Right.
And but we're always keeping the gun wet.
Right.
This one's not being kept wet, so
No.
we are really asking it to do is everything it can.
But I think this speaks to the genius of Eugene Stoner, the designer of the weapon system. It really speaks to the genius of the rifle, because we both know that carbon is a natural lubricant.
Yeah.
And now if you take carbon and you put oil or water onto it, then the carbon can become mushy and it can start to slow things down. But dry carbon is the same thing that they would use in fine tools, like watches. They'll put graphite in there, which is carbon. And so the genius of the system is not only the inline recoiling system, but that direct gas impingement system that puts a little bit of carbon into the action. Not a bunch. You'll see when we open this thing up. It's not like carbon's flowing out of it. It puts just enough in it to keep it working, and that's why we were doing this demonstration. So folks, we have our last 800 rounds here. We already have 6 magazines loaded up. Paul, we're just gonna jump into this, man. Now, we do have a little barrel cooler, so we'll do 6. This is my standard protocol.
Okay.
We'll do
Yes.
6 mags. We'll let it cool while we load up the magazines again. We'll put this little port cooler in here. All this does is just run some cool air through the barrel, right? We're not trying to burn the barrel out or pop the gas tube or anything. We're just trying to see how far the weapon's gonna go without cleaning our oil. All right, so you ready to do this?
I'm ready as I'm ever going to be.
I know, man, but you should be proud. This thing's got 9,200 rounds, and I know every time I post a video, you're like, oh, is it gonna make it?
I'm sitting in my office watching.
All right, guys, here we go. Let's fire another 800 rounds, and we'll see how she does.
All right.
All right, guys, the first thing we have to do is take the tape off from our last test. This is how we would seal the weapon up. Now, Paul, don't cringe. Yeah, so this thing, guys, the carbon is so caked in here. Oh no, I broke it loose. Last time we had to get her open. That's how dirty she is. Right. What do you think? It's not as bad as you'd think, right? That's gross.
Yeah,
I know.
it's
Your DI would have something to say about that.
Yeah.
Or your PMI. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and lock the bolt to the rear. Oh, this thing's sluggish, man. It's dirty. First 30. So if we just slow it down a little bit, let her cool, she's gonna keep trying for us. Come on, baby. Paul, that is 10,000 rounds.
Fantastic.
Wow. Yes, that is really, really something to behold. So when we started this test, you probably rightfully so thought 3, 4, 5,000 rounds before we got the thing so dirty,
Yes.
it might start to have some hiccups. We didn't really start to have problems until we got into the high 8s. In our last video, we had to break it open, cock the hammer, because the bolt just wasn't quite going home. There's just too much carbon and gunk in there. The gun's working fine, it's the carbon holding things up. And you'll notice in today's video what was happening. When the gun was cool, it cycled. But by the time we got to that third magazine, heat expansion, working with that carbon that's just caked in there, just started to slow it down just a little too much. And you have to keep that bolt running at a certain velocity for your reliability to stay there. That's why you keep the weapons clean. And this weapon's far from clean. This is 5 years of gunk built up in a rain, cold, all that stuff. So it made it through. We did have to break it open a couple of times. What would happen is the bolt would come back, the carrier, and it would just run out of pressure because that carbon's grinding it to a halt. And you get a click, no bang, which just means it was slightly out of battery, hammered, go home. I'd break it open, cock the hammer, make sure the bolt was home, and we could resume shooting. So technically, it would count as a malfunction, but I would say it's a malfunction due to just pure crud. The gun is actually working. And to that end, do you want to put some oil in this thing and fire a couple more magazines?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, because we made it to 10,000 with not a drop of oil. Let's just do it while she's still hot.
Poor rifle.
You know what we haven't done? We have not opened this up and looked at any components in 5 years. So bolt's locked to the rear. There's no magazine in it. The weapon is safe. So I'm going to go ahead and put that bolt home, and we'll go ahead and crack her open. She is hot. I'm kind of curious to see what's in here. Just feel how that bolt comes out of there. Just look at that. Dude, look at this.
It's a...
This is how dirty the gun is, folks. All right.
Wow.
Man, that thing is hot. Look at that. You can still see BCM on there.
Right.
Look at the polish job.
Yeah.
But look at the carbon buildup. Like, we have carbon back here. It's just kind of caked on. Now we're going to have that in the receiver too. It's going to be a lot harder to see inside the receiver. But there's the lower. And just look at the carbon.
That is a mess.
Dude.
Yeah.
I think that's office hours right there if you're in the military.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, oh my gosh, dude. See, I've never cracked it open. Look at the carbon in there.
Yeah. Oh.
It is layered. And so what's happening is the carbon's building up and the bolt's just shaving it off and dumping it anywhere it can. But you can see it's accumulating anywhere it can in there. Wow.
I've never seen something quite that bad.
This test took it to the extreme because we did none of the maintenance. And we made it to 10,000, having to crack it open because obviously carbon was taking its toll. But Paul, what an amazing product. If I were carrying this thing professionally, I would know I could trust my life to this weapon. All right, guys, so we put a little bit of Lucas oil on this weapon system, and she's acting normal once again. You can definitely feel the difference. So what we're gonna do, we got 2 magazines of ammunition. We're gonna run at full speed. Paul!
The magic of a little bit of oil, right?
Just all she needed was a little bit of oil. All this time, if you just called me up and said, Tim, put some oil on the thing. Good stuff. Good stuff.